How do we really see the world? Our future, present and past in the 21st century? Is it really we humans who now do the seeing?
It's only a matter of time that you can actually, when you make lifelike reconstructions to connect this with robots or computers, this is the next step.
In the early 1980s, 87 graves of men, women and children from the Mesolithic period were being excavated on Sweden's southern coast. But one set of remains, known as Burial 22, caught the eye of archaeologists.
Jag tror inte det egentligen finns någon sån vedertagen tolkning, utan det är nog att de som träffar henne eller ser henne känner ju ofta då att ja, men det är någonting speciellt. Eller hon väcker väldigt många frågor och vi har väldigt få svar.
This is the story of how an important figure from our ancient past was brought vividly back to life.
By hand.
But also by cutting-edge
technology. This is how our history is virtually talking to us. It's strange to think that, in the 7,000 years since Burial 22, as she is technically known, was alive, computers as we know them have only been around for about 1% of that time. But in the blink of an eye they are now not only defining what our future will look like, but giving us incredible glimpses of our past straight from the wildest dreams of historians from only a decade or two ago. But let's get on with it, shall we? Two key people in Burial 22's reconstruction can tell you their stories.
As long as I can remember, I've been extremely fascinated by faces. I have been making reconstructions for something like a bit more than 20 years now. Reconstructions here in Sweden for the Vasa Museum, the victims from the ship that sank, as well as facial reconstruction from a man buried in the stone circle of Stonehenge in Britain, and also reconstructions for the Mary Rose. I think I've made something like 80 or 85 reconstructions so far, so it has become quite a lot of faces during these years. I got a call from the museum in Trelleborg with the Mesolithic woman. As soon as I heard about the finding, about her specific individual, the things that were found around her, it was impossible to not get fascinated and to start planning for this.
Vi har ju en utställning här som heter Öga mot öga, och i den utställningen så finns gravar och utgrävningsfynd från en känd utgrävning i Skateholm. Och det är en väldigt speciell utgrävningsplats med över 80 gravar som på sin tid, när den grävdes fram på 1980-talet, så var den liksom helt exceptionell.
This site in southwest Sweden dated back to the Mesolithic period, aka the Middle Stone Age, a time of hunter-gatherer communities who had gradually moved up into Scandinavia from Central Europe after the last Ice Age.
Det är faktiskt människor som har levt här för 7000 år sedan och som fortfarande kan berätta någonting för oss. Så vi ville levandegöra någon av dem. Det stod högt på vår lista av vad vi önskade oss. Det var en fin rekonstruktion utav någon från den här Skateholmsutgrävningen.
But uncovering this fascinating discovery was just the first step. Recreating a lifelike resemblance from someone's 7,000-year-old remains wasn't going to be easy.
The first step when you make a reconstruction is to get a copy of the skull that you are about to reconstruct the face of. So first of all, I need to make a CT scanning or a hand scanning of this. I get a very high quality 3D photo documentation that can be processed in a computer, and later on you can print this with a 3D printer. But once I have the copy of the skull, I can start to make analysis of what makes this person unique.
With help from an osteologist to establish the individual's sex, age, ethnicity and estimated weight, Oscar painstakingly begins building the face in clay, layer by layer, muscle by muscle, all informed by his scientific knowledge of tissue depths, structure and tiny clues revealed by the skull. Incredibly, there are even techniques to accurately recreate features such as the nose, mouth and eyes.
When our brains try to identify a face, we seem to be very concentrated on the overall shape of the face, if it's a long face or a more round face, but also the proportions of the face, the relation, the distance between eyes and mouth and the nose in particular. And when you think about it, all these things already are in the cranium, in the skull. So knowing this, I can produce a face that hopefully, if we could go back in time, she would have been identified by her relatives or her friends, that they could see that, yes, this is this woman. So this is the aim. I try to find this quality in the reconstruction.
The decision to reconstruct Burial 22 wasn't a random choice. As the 1980s excavation found, there was something mysterious, even special about the remains.
Den här kvinnograven är ju lite speciell. Alltså det finns inget standard på de här gravfälten. Det är inte någon speciell typ av begravningssätt. Utan de är väldigt individuella allihopa. Men hon är ju begravd sittande i skräddarställning, alltså med korslagda ben, på kronhjortshorn, som en liten tron nästan. Och hon har jättemånga tänder ifrån djur som är genomborrade med ett fint litet hål. Och sen så förmodligen så har de suttit på hennes kläder. Så hon har 130 stycken tänder från djur som är runt hennes höfter.
Deer antlers, animal teeth, buried sitting upright. So, just who is she?
It's a hard question. This who was she? There is something going on here. She must have been a person that is very important in her position, in her profession, so to speak. Many people saying that she could have been a shaman or some kind of medical wise woman in her society. And in my eyes, yes.
Jag känner lite olika saker. När jag såg henne första gången, när då Oskar Nilsson har gjort den här väldigt fina och levande modellen, så tänkte jag, men henne har jag sett förut. Någon som jag liksom kände igen som någon så här ytligt bekant, någon man hade sett på stan eller så. Och sen samtidigt så har hon ju kvar den här mystiken som jag ju känner har funnits där hela tiden. Jag skulle verkligen vilja lära känna henne.
When I make a reconstruction, it's extremely important that I don't have an assumption from the beginning that this is a face I want to make. I have to be more like a bystander, really. I let the technique and the skull guide me or almost shape the face in front of me. In many cases I get astonished and surprised about how the face emerges. You are very drawn to her eyes, to her intense look. And I would say this is something that is actually already there in her skull.
Och prata med henne och få ta del av hennes livshistoria. Så att jag gillar ju det, att det fortfarande är kvar, den här lite mystiska delen av hennes framtoning när jag ser henne.
So, what's next in the future for reconstructing
our past?
Have you been offered the job at Westworld yet?
No, I'm waiting for that still, but who knows, because you can make 3D reconstructions movable in 3D in computers, and this is already being made.